wants to share how their calls have been going within this past week. Uh, I know John, you've been making some calls, and
Hey Alex.
Rich.
Yeah, this was actually really funny. I had called somebody yesterday, and I don't think I left a message because I must have the number I must have had was to their office, but they must have had caller ID or something. And maybe 2 hours later, I got a call back from this woman, and like, I mean, couldn't be more disinterested in actually speaking to me. And I wanted to be like, lady, you called me back. Like I called you 4 hours ago. Like you called me back. What? Like I actually really had to bite my tongue and say like because I almost said I'm sorry. Like did you call me back at a bad time? But I kind of bit my tongue and she opened up. She warmed up a little bit, but I was like so fascinated with how almost standoffish and put off as she was. And she called me. It was like some of these people are funny.
Uh,
But yeah, I guess my point in telling you all that is don't get discouraged. Sometimes you never know what's going on in people's day, but I just found it amusing that, I wasn't even the one that made the call here.
yeah, that's thanks for sharing. Yeah, Sandra.
So for me, I just wanted to share. So I changed one of my Google numbers to a Las Vegas number to call in. And two of the agents immediately, first they're talking to me and they say, "Oh, you tricked me. You're probably from LA and you're going to talk to me about a sub two thing." And I said, "Well, that's one of the things in our arsenal, but that's not the only thing that we have for you. So let's talk about." I'm like, so tell me, why would you say that? Everybody's calling about a subtail and da, and say, well, I'm actually not. I'm interested in the property for other reasons. So let's talk about it. And so we ended up having the last one, we ended up having a conversation like 45 minutes later, going into, and then really the deal wouldn't have worked anyway because they're so upside down on it. And the information that we actually have is they had taken a second loan out. And I'm like, oh God, he barely got the first one out. Or you barely got the first one even approved. And so they owe so much more money on the property. But she said, well, okay, you know what? At least I appreciate it. And so she ended up taking my information and we've gone through and she said, well, can I call you back if I have some other deals? I'm like, that would be fantastic. I would love to talk to you about those. So just so you know, even when they come at you like that, you guys, just turn it around because there's other things that we have that we can offer to get the property sold, to not just make them hate us from a sub two standpoint.
Yeah,
That's all I wanted to share.
well said. Yeah, Rich. Um, would remind me that it's important to sometimes act a little confused when they bring up the whole, are you calling about sub two? And that it's a good way to kind of catch them off guard because they're like, oh, wait, like I was just being really rude to a person that might be buying the home cash.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. And thanks for sharing that, Sandra. That's what I tell a lot of people too. Like it can be discouraging just starting out and not seeing like stuff sticking right away. But like we have deals that come to us now where it's an agent we spoke with 2 months ago or did a deal with a month ago, or we just built rapport and had a decent relationship being built with an agent or a seller or whoever it may be that refers something to us down the future where you're basically building out a pipeline for future opportunity and potential income. So even if that deal there, you get over the hump of, hey, no sub two, well, do you have other opportunities? Hey, they might not right now, but if you left a good impression and they want to work with you, then all of a sudden that agent could be messaging you in 3 weeks from now with, hey, I have this off market opportunity. You seem to really know your stuff. Do you want to take a look at it before we list it? And that could be a really good deal there. So that's another thing to remember too, that each of you are kind of building your own pipelines when you're speaking with agents and just really connecting with others in this real estate game.
Yeah, we have an agent we did a deal in Phoenix with, and literally every time he gets a listing or has someone that may be open to an untraditional sale, he's calling me like right away. And so I'm basically getting first dibs on anything that comes to him. And so slowly, if you're able to get a couple agents that you have that same rapport with, um, even if they're only sending you a couple deals a year, if you're able to make something out of a couple of them, it'll be well worth it.
Yeah, and even not just agents too. I mean, specifically here, it more so relates to agents, but like that lender with Chris, like there's this one deal we closed on today actually in Texas where it was a pre-foreclosure scenario with a small lender and an agent who I met on Bigger Pockets brought me that lead. She needed help with it. And we're either going to flip it or we might keep it as a rental. Not sure yet. But basically, this lender also had a portfolio of 10 houses as well, too, that were in or about to get foreclosed on. He didn't want to deal with it. And he was like, basically, okay, if you come with 50 grand out of pocket, you can take these 10 homes over. Some of them were good deals. The other 5 were not really too good of deals. But our partner, Chris, he kind of negotiated it where now that lender's like, hey, you can take over these 10 properties for 20 grand. And they're all, except 2 of them, are tenant occupied right now. And there's break even cash flow. So, or slight cash flow, actually. So that's an opportunity just from connecting with the lender, showing we can perform, building a relationship, showing we know what we're talking about essentially, or mainly Chris, because he was the one mainly speaking with that agent or lender. And then now all of a sudden we had 10 properties kind of just fall into our lap that maybe some of them will be rental properties, maybe some of them will be assignments, and maybe 2 of them will be complete garbage that we just have to figure out when we get there. We still need to do more due diligence on that before we actually pull the trigger and wire funds. But yeah, it's crazy. Just by talking to people and building relationships, so much stuff will just come your way.
Yeah.
Yeah, just wanted to share that.
On that note, talk to as many people as you can throughout the day, but also remember to focus on quality over quantity. I know that's something Rich really focuses on, and I know most of his conversations go really well, but it's just important to keep in mind that the more people you talk to, the more opportunities that will present themselves for you.
Very true. And one thing that's important too is there has to be some sort of, and this, I'm not trying to be, this is just kind of the truth of how it is because I've noticed this and learned this along the way, but there has to be some sort of value exchange within the interaction, right? For someone you've never met before to want to keep talking to you. For example, Alex, like Heather, we're working with, the one that does the social media stuff. Like, I'm sure if we were just like, hey, can you teach us all about the marketing and, 7-figure exits you've had with your companies? And we'll just sit there that, she probably wouldn't be as open to doing something like that versus us saying, hey, one week we'll talk about real estate stuff, answer your questions with creative finance. Then the next week, you'll share your marketing and social media stuff. Um, so as long as you have something to provide, whether it's knowledge on creative finance that an agent's like, wow, I don't know any of this stuff. There's a lot of opportunity here. This person made it clear to me that I'm missing out on a lot of deals because I'm not presenting these options to my clients. If you do that, that agent might want to be your friend and you're making them more money now by what you taught them. So that's just another thing too. Also being knowledgeable in whatever craft you're trying to share with that person to create like a value exchange where that person wants to, you know, or they could just talk to you because you're nice. That's another thing too, but there's a higher probability if there's a equal value exchange for them to want to continue building that relationship. Because I noticed me starting this stuff like a year and a half ago, I didn't have the relationships then that I have now because I'm sure you noticed the same, Alex. Like a lot of people are coming to us for creative finance stuff and just help with wholesale stuff now, where a year and a half ago, it was kind of the other way around for me, going out to people like Joe, who we spoke with today, like, hey, how do you do all this stuff? I guess I'm still asking Joe questions because he's making like hundreds of thousands a month doing it, but you get the point. Cool. And Chris, I see you with your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up something that I thought was pretty interesting. So I was just at my gym today and there was like some events where some businesses come by and promote themselves. And there was this realtor and I just went up to talk to him. I told him a little bit about that I was doing some calls for wholesaling and then I do creative stuff like sub too. And just off that, I could tell he was like off put it and stuff. And that he didn't know much about it, he said. So I just thought it was interesting that like most agents are generally just off put it right off the bat about all creative options and and really not educated much on it and don't really see the value in it.
Yeah. And a lot of the things, and I know Alex mentions this a lot, is like a third party story saying like, yeah, one of my friends, he's a good agent. He does a ton of deals in Arizona and he never used to do a lot of creative stuff. And then I told him, I'm like, dude, you're losing. Like, I know some of your listings are going expired because you've told me previously, oh, there's no equity in these. And, you know, we actually are buying houses just like that, where we're paying the agents full commission and we're just taking over the existing payments. And if they didn't go a creative route there, that listing would have gone expired and that agent would have never made their 5 or 10 grand and the seller would have never gotten their house sold. So it's actually something huge. I don't know how often you come across properties like that or opportunities like that, but you know, really anything, or if someone's firm on their ask price and they don't want a price drop and you're about to lose your listing, reach out to me and we could structure something where I could still get them their price if they're open to terms and, you know, creating some sort of strategy there. Cause that's what's so cool about creative. Like I'm on a call earlier today. It was that horse property. That's what I'm going to call it. And I knew nothing about this property. I just had the address and this JV partner, she brought it to me and I'm just writing stuff down. Oh, it's blurred out, but I'm just writing stuff down on a notepad as I'm talking to them. Like, okay, here's what their monthly payment is. Here's what they think their realtor friend said they could get for rent. Here's their balance. Here's all the info. And I'm like, well, what do you guys need? What do you guys want? What would be ideal? Okay, money isn't an issue for you guys right now. You were thinking maybe keeping this as a rental anyway. What if I could get some cash flow in your pocket every single month and also put some money in your pocket at closing? And I'm like, okay, perfect. Well, we have a hybrid deal here that I can present to you. And so you could literally do that with any sort of prospect. It doesn't even have to be real estate. Like people buy businesses creatively, cars creatively. It's really just trying to cater to someone's ideal needs and coming up with a solution. So I think if you can explain it like that, where essentially you're not just seeming like a money hungry person who isn't presenting the actual opportunity and solution there, it's huge. Like I don't know how long you spoke with that guy for, Chris, that agent, but um how did that conversation go? It was just something kind of brief where he was like, oh, I'm not interested, or what did that go like?
No, so he was a chill guy. I just was talking to him for a bit. So like I kind of built a little bit of rapport at first, but he said he was interested in kind of getting educated about it. But I could just tell like a little bit, like, it was off the bat, like he wasn't really he knew a bit about it, but not enough to be comfortable with it. But he said he was interested in talking about it and learning about it.
Awesome. Cool, man. Yeah. Yeah. And did you get his number to keep him as a contact or?
Yeah. So I got his card, and so I'm gonna try to talk to him. And then I asked if he had any listings, and he said everything that he had was under contract at the moment. But so yeah, we'll see what we can do, and I'll try to build a relationship with him.
Nice, man. Cool, cool. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Um, anything else from anyone before we jump into, we want to listen to your call too, Chris, if you don't mind, if you're fine with us listening to that and sharing that.
Of course, no problem.
Cool, cool. Anything else from anyone? Any feedback or questions, or also too, if anyone else other than Chris has a call recording that they want to share for feedback and just for others to listen to as well.
I would just like to share that I got 2 properties under contract today.
Awesome. Congrats on that.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. So now I got to turn around and sell them. So one's land and one is a house.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Cool, cool. Where are those located?
In California.
Nice.
Southern California.
Awesome. Cool, cool. Congratulations on that. That's amazing.
Let me see. Trying to pull up the call recording.
And let us know, Denise, too, if you do need help moving those, because we have Investor Lift Cartel Mode, which is a pretty big platform to push off-market properties to investors. We have like 4.8 million buyers on there or something ridiculous.
That would be amazing. How would I go about doing something like that? Because I'm putting together my little performa.
Yeah, totally. Usually it's more of like, well, it depends. It's usually if someone like, hey, I'm having trouble moving this. Do you want to just blast it on Investor Lift? Because we have a partner we work with where we kind of do like a JV split on things, but we could talk about that kind of after this if it was something, or we could even look at the deal too, because I might know someone personally that might be interested. Not necessarily.
Where in California?
And one is in Cathedral City and the other is in Cherry Valley.
Oh, nice.
Mm.
Cathedral
Yep.
City, that's sort of near Palm Springs, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Awesome.
And
Cool.
and that's land. And then the Cherry Valley. Oh, this is something interesting to share. So I did one phone call and I talked to one motivated seller. He has 5 properties. He wants me to he knows I'm going to wholesale them. He's totally open to me wholesaling them. So I
Oh,
just put
nice.
one under contract today. And then the other 4 were working to do the deals. But he said, I already know I'm going to just pick you and I'm more than happy to pay you a commission. I'll pay you a commission to just get rid of these. And this is a for sale by owner.
That's amazing.
Wow,
And
congrats.
and what are you doing just to share to people what well, how long have you been doing this? How I'm curious because it sounds like you're talking on the phone a lot and putting in effort and work. That's just one thing I want to get at.
So my I guess you could say my expertise is marketing. I do marketing. So I've sold RVs, I've sold cars, and now I'm switching to wholesaling. But yeah, sales and marketing are my two big things. So instead of I do a marketing piece that goes out and then the motivated sellers call me.
Awesome.
So
So
yeah,
PPC, Facebook ads, or
all the above. I do everything
nice.
and anything, all marketing, every which way. Mhm.
Awesome.
And then I get the phone call and then I ask them, how'd you hear about me? Then that way I get an idea of what's working more, the Facebook ad, more, whatever, the flyer you saw or whatever, I find out from them. And then really it just takes one. And I've noticed when people do call, they have more than one property, which is fantastic. So
Awesome.
yeah, so,
Great. Well, congrats on that. Keep that up. And you might even have a buyer there. Nancy sounds like she
Yes,
wants some info. So if you want to
yes,
connect with her.
I definitely want to know more about it.
okay. How does that something like, can I just put my phone number in the chat and then whoever wants to talk to me afterwards? Can
Yeah,
we do
Yes,
something
totally.
like that?
That,
can
or
you
if you want to message Nancy personally.
yes, see
Okay.
if you can. My number, let me send to you here.
You could put it in the chat, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
type it out. I wouldn't say it.
Okay, I'll put my number in the chat.
Awesome. Cool. Good stuff on that. So, all right. Next thing then, should we listen to Chris's call, or if anyone else had a call that they wanted some feedback on?
I actually had a call, but real quick, I didn't mention the creative finance though. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, still cool to review a call. No, totally. Was that what I'm curious, what kind of lead was that? Was that just a direct to seller lead where you're pitching cash, or what sort of scenario was that?
That was the direct to agent, low equity.
Okay. So,
And let's see, I'll send me.
Yeah.
okay.
Oh man.
So, yeah, I'm curious then when you didn't mention creative, I mean, yeah, sure, we could totally get feedback on it. So you just pitched like a lowball cash offer, with the intention of maybe following up with, hey, like, I don't know if this will work cash wise, but what about this option? Or
Yeah, that's the intention. The intention was to like build more rapport. I didn't even throw the cash offer. All I told her was like it's a low cash offer, and I was like, is there some wiggle room? She was like, no, we're firm. We already lowered it. Anyways, the point was to build a rapport at first, so eventually I'm gonna follow up next week with that creative finance pitch.
cool. Yeah, sounds good. Let's definitely listen to that too. We could kind of chop them around for time's sake. So we could listen to Chris's or a part of Chris's, and we could also listen to yours too, Jose.
Okay.
Awesome.
Cool. I'm gonna play this.
Yeah.
Let me know if you could hear it.
Christine,
Yeah.
I heard it for like 1 second.
I'm just calling about one of your listings.
Yeah, which one?
Yeah, so it's the one on North Mitchell Drive was the one I'm looking at.
Yeah, what would you like to know about?
Yeah, so the first thing I kind of want to get a touch on is if it's still currently owner occupied at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And then I'm looking at the pictures here, but how's the condition? Has anything been updated recently or?
Well, recently, as in like the last little while.
Maybe just like the last couple years or so, just to kind of see maybe like if it's coming up on like if it needs a new AC or a new roof, but if it's
Oh.
No, it's actually not too bad. They haven't done anything themselves the last year that they've owned the property. They haven't owned it for that long.
Oh,
When they
okay.
bought the property, it had new water heater, the furnace was still newer, a lot of stuff was in good shape, so.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, that's what I was a little bit curious about.
Oh, yeah.
And then, yeah, touching on that, it does look great. What made them want to put such a beautiful home up on the market?
Well, they bought there was a boyfriend and girlfriend who bought the property together and the relationship disintegrated, so.
Gotcha. Happens.
Yeah.
And touching on that, I've seen it's been on the market for a while now. How's the feedback from some potential buyers been so far?
It's been good. It doesn't, our biggest problem is we have a mother-in-law apartment with an exterior entrance, which poses, kind of its own challenges if somebody wants to, especially rent out the basement and that kind of thing. And I think that's been our biggest dilemma in it all. In fact, we did have like one person super interested in it, really loved the property, and we even would have made an offer on it, except for we had busy freeway noise, and they were to freeway noise, so they weren't going to get over that anytime soon. But they actually really liked the property. They just literally couldn't get over freeway noise. So
Okay.
they were to go through things. But other than that, it's been really pretty positive, and then, on the remarks and the feedback that we got back on it.
Right.
Nothing too major. It's just we're in this kind of niche in the marketplace, and I think our biggest hang up is for a lot of people has been just having that walkout.
Yeah, to that little in the back there's kind of what you were saying earlier. Okay.
And they can add it. And that's kind of the biggest thing is, it's not something that they, somebody cannot do. They can add a walkout basement back there. They just have to take out and sacrifice one of the windows to put it in. But, so.
It just stopped playing, Alex. I think when I'm not sure what happened.
My bad. Let me see. That's weird.
No worries, you're good.
Once he gets to the creative pitch, then I'll stop it and then we'll give some feedback.
Well, that way.
Gotcha. Okay. And then kind of what's their timeline for the sellers for hoping on closing on it? Because are they still looking to wait it out a little bit more until they kind of get that right offer for them?
Yeah, they do want to get the right offer for their price tag. I know that they put a price reduction. Obviously they would love to get their price tag out of it, but
Right.
It's one of those things like if we get an offer that is the sweet spot, then obviously they'll take it and run. So that's kind of where they're, but yeah, and that and on top of it all, they both have to come to an agreement on what they're going to do, and so that presents its own challenges too.
Okay, gotcha. And touching on, you said they've only lived there for a little bit, so I'm kind of guessing that the price probably can't drop too low from what it's listed at, just based on they haven't had much time to really make payments on it.
Right, correct, yeah. So they don't have.
So just right there, he basically set the anchor that cash isn't going to work.
They don't have a ton of equity there to really play with, really.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I'm an investor. So typically when I buy cash, it's usually at a discounted price from the market value. So
yeah.
Personally, I would
owned the property before, but it just doesn't seem to quite pencil for them.
Right.
It's one of those things that we're close, but we're not quite there.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it's something that would pencil really well. I mean, we've even had investors come in to make offers. Obviously, it wasn't something that they could do. Otherwise, you'd be sold by now.
Exactly. Okay. And actually, it kind of reminds me of a similar property I recently worked on in Salt Lake City. And the owners lived in it for over a year, coming on to 2 years, and they had to sell it because of their job. And we put together terms that benefited them and also got the agent paid. You think they can consider something like this?
Well, like I said, it really depends because like I said, they just, obviously they don't have a lot of equity there. And on top of that, they've got to come to an agreement what they're going to accept and everything else on it.
Right.
Cool. I think we could stop it right there. I know we kind of gave you some feedback already, Chris, but just so everyone else could hear, just some things maybe you liked from that, Jack, and maybe some things that we could have done a little bit better.
Yeah. So I really like the part that I thought was super good, which we already told Chris that, but I think it's just good for everyone to hear, was kind of like the anchor of like, I mean, you already touched on it, Alex, of disqualifying the cash. Like, shoot, I don't think the cash is going to work for something like this or really anybody, because it sounds like they haven't had the property a while. There's not much equity. Okay. And then the agent basically admitted that, like, yeah, it's tight. It's going to be a tough one. And then Chris then went into the pivot of kind of building credibility, talking about how he's done these before and we do a lot of these. And this is a solution you can have in the tool belt where basically we can just come in and take over the existing payments and be able to still close on this property, get the seller paid, get the agent paid, and not have it become an expired listing or have the seller come out of pocket to write a check at closing. So I think Chris did a really good job at setting that up. The only thing that I was kind of touching or not touching on, the only thing that I kind of critiqued a little bit was right at the start of that call. Like, I guess just in terms of kind of pivoting and building up to there, like more rapport could have been built. That was just one thing that I would have thought of. But besides that, it was I really liked the transition from disqualifying the cash to the creative, because that's what you need to do. A lot of people are just going, hey, will you do creative, or hey, do you do sub two? Like if you're setting it up how he did and disqualifying the cash, that's a really good way to do it, and that's how it really needs to be presented.
Yeah, and this agent was honestly sounded really nice to talk to, but you touched on it. My favorite part of the call was as soon as he pivoted into the party story, and just something for everyone to consider when you're being explained something you haven't heard. Okay, maybe for me, hearing analogies and using things we're already familiar with to get a better understanding of what it's like paints a picture a little bit easier. And maybe we should listen to it again just because I think everyone, and I don't want to say that you have to lie, but just saying, hey, me and my partners recently, depending on what market you're calling on, if it was Phoenix and you were calling in Mesa, you could say we just did a deal in Buckeye, which we have. And so it just shows the agent or the seller, hey, we're doing deals like this on a regular basis, and this is something that we could definitely take on.
Good. Okay. And actually, it kind of reminds me of a similar property I recently worked on in Salt Lake City. And the owners lived in it for over a year, coming on to
But I think you get the point. I just think the transition from cash offer isn't going to work. Okay, maybe I have the solution that we could see if it might work for your clients is a great way to pivot into creative. Cool. And then Jose, did you want to share that recording you have with me?
Yeah, where do I send it to?
What do you have it on?
That same Bocarro.
Okay. Yeah, you can just send me the link.
Send you the link. Like literally the URL. I don't know what you mean though.
Here.
Oh, it says right here you can
See, you gotta save it, like copy it to your clipboard,
yeah.
and then you can send it on Discord, preferably.
The general doesn't matter?
Yeah.
Sure. That's pretty cool. So there's that one. Oh, so just so you know, on that call, I had called them. I thought I called them like 2 days ago, and they said that it was expired. So that's what I had noted. So she calls me back and saying, that they actually have the property listed. So that's how the conversation starts. Like I was like confused. Anyways,
Yeah, thanks for filling this in.
Hello?
Hi, this is Elizabeth. I had a missed phone call.
Yes. Who exactly are you? I've been counting a lot of people. I'm sorry.
Elizabeth, I'm a real estate agent.
Oh yes. I believe maybe I called. I had a call with someone about.
A few minutes ago.
Yes. I accidentally called you again because I remember I called y'all 2 days ago about Sagecroft, and that's probably I don't have listed anymore.
So you don't have listed? I'm sorry.
There's a property that we're calling y'all about, and I believe some dude or some other man answered the phone, and we were asking about y'all Sagecroft property, and he said that wasn't listed no more.
No, I don't think that no one else answered. No,
Oh,
it's still available.
it is. Is the one on Crowley, right?
Yeah, it's probably Fort Worth.
Okay, yeah, because I do have it here that we called y'all, but I guess maybe I have all these listings. Yeah, exactly. It happens. Okay, yeah, perfect. So my name is Jose. First of all, Elizabeth, how you doing?
Good.
I'm doing good. A busy day?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's make this fast because I know y'all realtors be busy at times with y'all showings. So let me see this listing. Yeah. So we always look at properties that are either in good shape or in bad condition as well, because we also look for fix and flips and maybe some rentals. So I'm gonna ask you this question: Is the property currently owner occupied, or what's the story here?
Yeah, it's occupied right now.
Ah, okay. Perfect. Great, because I'm like I said, I'm interested in properties that are like nice homes or ugly as well. If this were mine, definitely would like to keep it. Is there a reason why the seller would like to get rid of this one?
Divorce.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Man, I really hope everything the best for the both of them, because I've been there with my parents. So anyways, yeah, it's tough. Thank you for sharing that. Can you tell me, so that according to the pictures, everything looks nice, but is there anything else that you can tell me about the condition that's not in the pictures?
It's still a new home. It's 8 year old. It's still within the builder's warranty. It's just having to get the property under their name because of the divorce.
Okay. That's good. We had a listing about a couple, I would say 4 months ago, because we also buy in Houston, and there was a hole in the floor.
I just want to pause it right there just to go over a couple things. Just to start, I think it's important that when you're speaking to a realtor, even though you may not know everything, to use a tone that sounds confident. When you're speaking with too much uncertainty, it almost makes you lose your credibility, and it makes it seem like you don't even really know what you're talking about. And just the flow of the conversation, it's always important to know the motivation, but I don't like to ask about that just because this agent gave you the answer, but most agents won't. Most agents will be like, why are you even asking that? Because it really shouldn't matter to you whether it's a divorce or it's foreclosure. And so this script is a great place to really start when you're making these calls. And I think Chris used this when he was making that call because it sounded like it came from this script and it was a pretty good call. So I would just recommend that you read over this and not to sound like a robot, but to have a better understanding of what the flow should look like. So as you can see, first just start with asking if it's available. You don't always have to start with if it's owner occupied, but it gives you more options about what you could talk about with the agent. Because let's just say the owners were renting it out, then you could dive deeper into, okay, well, how much were they renting it out for? And a couple other questions. And so just going forward, really consider the questions you're asking at the beginning because the questions you're asking at the beginning will set up the second layer of questions you have.
And then one thing to mention too with like kind of digging in and as to why they're selling, like, so of course, like Alex was saying though, a lot of agents will kind of gatekeep it. Well, like, they're just selling, like, it's different direct to seller, like really trying to dive into their motivation and emotion there is why they're selling. But even with direct to agent, like, we still want to know why they're selling. It's just how we're delivering that. Like, we don't want to just say, oh, so why is the seller selling? Because then it almost sounds script like. But like a lot of the times when I'm doing these, which I'm not really cold calling a lot, but more of like when I am though, or even on a follow up and we don't know that, I'll just be like, yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the pictures here. This house looks super nice. Like, I would want to hold this thing forever. Why are they selling this? Something like that, or really subtly. Versus if you're asking like, oh, do you know why the sellers are selling? Then that there's a whole different kind of tonality thing and dynamic there with that. But I will say though, like, Alex, he sounded like, I actually thought he sounded good, like in terms of like direct. I could see you doing really well with direct to seller stuff, Jose, because like you were kind of trying to, like, you're not really going to build like an emotional pull there with a agent. Like, I think when you said like you made that connection about the divorce, like that was really good. And I think that's like that kind of stuff works really good with direct to seller stuff where you're like connecting with that lead on like a personal level. Um, but yeah, yeah, those are just my quick thoughts. I don't know if were you gonna continue playing it, Alex?
Yeah.
Cool.
Or and when below a carpet they had, and it was literally recently built, like 2020, 2021. So we had situations like that too. Anyways, yeah, good to know that it's not happening here. Anyways, so yeah, so looks like this property could be a good fit for us. Is the seller or sellers, do they have some wiggle room, or are they strict on their price?
No, they're wanting to be right at that. They already went down 20,000
Ooh.
last week.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, especially with these interest rates, because that's what we're facing right now. We had a lot of lowball cash offers. In this case, because of the current market, how it's performing, we haven't been able to get accepted. And obviously those fix and flips are harder as well too, especially nowadays with the interests. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said they're firm?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're not trying to offend your seller, definitely not. Especially when you as an agent, you got a lot of possible deals that we can probably partner up with. So that'll be, I wouldn't like to lose that rapport with you neither. Let me see what I can do. Let's see. What was yours asking price again? I have it here.
399.
Yeah, we were looking. I'm not even gonna tell you the price because I don't want you to hang up on me. So let's not even talk about that. So what's y'all's feedback, by the way? Is there any feedback going on with that price, or?
No, it's just there's since it's a new build, the community still open, so there is still other properties you could look at in that area.
Oh,
There's
okay.
about like 100 different ones if you look on the map.
Okay, so do you think this property will most likely sell with that current price, or do you have a recent amount of offers within that price?
No, not yet. There's just like I said, there's just too many properties right now in that area that's available.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. Okay. Yeah, let me see what I can. I don't think we'll probably make it work with a cash offer because I wouldn't like to offend you. But if you definitely have some other properties that we may be able to take a look at, either for fix and flips or rentals, you know, that we could definitely create a relationship that'd be great and partner.
Yeah. Are y'all doing trying to do like clear on the 60% aftermarket value, or what do you guys do?
So it all depends. It all depends on the property because sometimes the comps there's a decent amount of comps to where we could possibly be closer to the asking price and you know the rehab. So it all depends. We like to look at our ARV and so we as fix and flippers we usually like to get a 12 to 15% profit from the ARV. So it all depends, honestly. It all depends. But that would be a good range or a good formula that we would probably use, but we don't necessarily use that.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you want to check that with me? You probably should have another one, but that great looking. Ourselves.
And you know as well, if you have some good properties, like I said, we also like to acquire rentals. We acquired around 20 plus over in Houston. A bunch were cash and also creative finance, which is something that we also like to focus on. So you know we got a lot of things that we can do with and possibly partner up together.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Elizabeth. You take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I like that, man. I like that at the end, just to build credibility, you know, talking about, hey, we do this all the time. We got a bunch of rentals here, this and that. And now that agent probably thinks you're legit, right? I mean, do you have 20 do you have 20 rentals in Houston?
No, but my partner does. And
Nice,
we're partners, so I can
nice. Cool, man. Yeah. Awesome.
Also, another thing I really liked is just addressing them by their name to end off the call. It's something that sometimes people forget, but it's a great thing to be adding at the end of your call.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome, man. That was good stuff. Does anyone have any questions or feedback or anything? Just curious if anyone else wants to chime in and say something.
Criticize me, please.
Hey, can I actually add something there?
Yeah, what's
If
up?
you guys don't mind. There at the end, you did such an awesome job building up the cash offer, and then like I was thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, he's gonna hook them on the creative. I'm sorry, guys, for my voice. I've been sick for the last couple of days here, but it sounds like I ate a drill bit. But and then you kind of missed and you went into something else. But I can't remember the specific part. It was maybe like 2 minutes before the end of the call, and you had them hooked. And like I think if you had said something along the lines of like, hey, you know, I don't even know if this is like a possibility here, but uh, do you think that maybe your seller would be open to deal on terms, and it was like, and you had them, and I think if you went there, you might have maybe opened her up a little bit, but other than that, I think you crushed it.
Oh man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll take a note of that and re-listen to that audio and see what I could have done better, definitely, and see what you were talking about.
Yeah, it's like right at the end, man, you did such an awesome job building it up. And I think that was your chance, but you did a real nice job at the end there building that up. Good job.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Rich.
How long have you been doing calls for Jose? Just curious.
Calls. So I actually, it's a very long story, but I'll make it short. I'll probably say, let's say over a year and a half.
Nice, man. Cool.
Yeah, it's not a good thing to say. Why? Because I haven't closed the deal. And like I said, it's a long story, but it's all me, right? It's all me. Nothing other than that.
Gotcha, man. Well, let's help you do that. Let's get you one here soon, man. Because you definitely, like I said, there was certain things I noticed on your call where I was like, oh damn, that's good. Like mainly, that's why I was wondering too. Why I asked about direct to seller and your experience, because kind of the way you were handling those calls, I'm like, I could see this being really good with direct to seller. Just because with agents, and I shouldn't say this because some care, but like you're not going to get that emotional like pull and connection you would with an agent because they're basically like the middleman. They're the messenger, right? And the messenger is just like the messenger's just trying to get paid and do their job. Like when I do direct to seller calls, like you can probably I think Cruz, I shared that one recently with you or Alex, like I used to do a lot of direct to seller stuff, and I'll have like sometimes sellers like on the phone, like crying and like, making them feel super comfortable and like showing that I want to help and resolve their situation. Where with agents, I'm not going to do that because there's not really that emotional pull there where I'm just like, hey, I just want to get you paid. This is what we can do. But I'm curious, the calls you've been making, were you doing a lot of DTA stuff or direct to seller stuff?
So the year and a half thing was more like I was talking to hard money lenders. I was on the phone with other people.
Okay.
Like the direct to agent, it's been like 6 months.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Like the direct agent to get creative finance been 6 months. Just creating rapport and being able to do deals with them, like with cash offers, it's been more than 6 months.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you for sharing that. Same with you, Chris. What time we got here? 4:50. What's the move, Alex? I've been looking at my other monitor trying to figure out this freaking place with the horse pen in the back, but still haven't got an idea on numbers on that.
Hey, by the way, quick question.
Yeah, what's up?
Do where do y'all close? Do y'all only close like anywhere nationwide or
Yeah,
'cause
we'll do them. We'll do them nationwide.
say that again?
We'll do them nationwide. Yeah, everywhere.
Okay. And most of y'all deals have been successful in closing?
Yeah, unless there's some sort of title issue or that's the thing with the sub two stuff. There's been a couple scenarios where the seller does something weird and stuff like that. So is numbers wise, if the numbers are making sense, we're gonna perform and close unless there's some external factor with the seller doing something, title, or there's an inspection report done and it's a mess.
Okay.
We had one deal when we were first getting started where there was only one picture on the market, and we get it under contract. We get the inspection, and mid-inspection, the inspector's like, yeah, like this is not good, and
Well, to be fair, there was like 5 pictures I saw of it, and I was just taking their word. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, and it didn't look bad in the pictures, but then the inspector goes there and he just sends me a video of a billiards ball, like a pool ball. He sets it on the floor, and then it just rolled like super quick. Like the foundation was shot, the ceiling was caving in. But I mean, even if we're assigning deals, we're doing non-refundable EMD. So those were some that we were planning on keeping, which is why we got it inspected. So that's just a buyer's risk they have to take with non-refundable EMD. But we have had a few lately with the seller doing something stupid or some title issue. But yeah, most of them will close as long as there's not something externally involved.
Okay, the reason I was asking is because so I did the REI reply thing, which is an AI thing that you can reach out to sellers.
Yep.
I'm gonna do direct to agent with that, and I have a VA who's gonna manage that, and they need 10,000 numbers at least, right, to reach out.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to close. I mean, I could possibly close, right, but I don't have the paperwork. So
Yeah.
I have a friend in Houston who is a closer as well.
Yeah.
I'd like to work with many people, or not many, but I wouldn't just like to have one closer. I
Yeah.
would like to develop a relationship with multiple, and like you, Jack, or with you, Alex. That'll be cool as well. So maybe out of those 10,000, a couple, maybe 10, 20, I don't know, just whatever numbers. And hey, Alex, you think you can help me with this deal? Hey, Jack, you think you can help me with this deal?
Yeah, I mean, totally, man. That's what we got. That's what we got going here for sure. So, like, someone called me this morning about needing help with some duplex in Louisiana. Like, I spoke with the agent, ran the numbers. Looks like a deal. We're gonna have a contract out tomorrow. And then, same with someone in our group. One of their leads that they brought from a VA that they have. We finally got like a verbal agreement. Going to get a contract out on that one. So that's pretty much all Alex and I are doing, or just helping people lock up deals and JV and deals and stuff. So definitely happy to help with that in the future. And then Anthony, I see you got your hand up.
Keep your eyes
Yeah,
on the
sorry
road.
about that.
No
Yeah,
worries.
I was trying to keep my eyes on the road. No, just real quick, because I've been thinking about this a lot too. I'm still working up towards making calls, so was a good on that for you for doing that. Title companies. Should we be reaching out to title companies now so that way, in the event that we get something going, we can kind of speed that along, or
No.
is that something you guys can help out with too?
Yeah, we got that. We have like a list of nationwide title companies that we use. And I always tell people, some people will tell you the opposite, like make sure you're building a buyer's list and doing all this, have all your title companies have this and this and this and this figured out. And it's like, okay, that's great, but if you don't have any leads or deals, then you're just wasting your time building stuff out that was just completely pointless. So like there's a lot of people I talk to who are like, they're building out all this buyers list, they're doing all this stuff, and then they don't know how to underwrite a lead, they don't know how to speak to a lead on the phone, they don't know how to find the lead, and I'm like, dude, you just wasted like 20 hours doing a bunch of stuff that you're not even going to use yet. Where it's like, hey, just team up with someone who knows what they're doing when you get to that point, and then you'll figure it out. That's kind of the way I recommend going about it. But yeah, title companies, that's something we could totally help out with. It's also as easy as just wherever that deal is. Locally, I mean, there's nationwide title companies, but if you're working like smaller markets, sometimes sellers prefer like a local title company just so they don't have to do a mobile notary and they can just drive there. Oftentimes, if you call a handful of title companies and just say, hey, are you guys familiar with assignments? Sometimes I do bring in partners where I assign my contract to them at a slightly higher price and then they pay me a fee for that. Is that something that you guys are familiar with? And then like 1 out of 3 title companies will probably say yes. And then boom, there you go. There's the title company, you can use for a wholesale deal. You do need to be more specific with sub two and the creative finance stuff. I'm just referring to like a cash deal. So the sub two stuff,
Yeah.
that's a lot more picky and precise with the title companies, but we have a list of all those as well too.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm a local. I come between you and Alex in LA, Covina, San Gabriel Valley area.
Okay,
So
cool.
I was
Nice.
just wondering. Yeah, no, again, I don't want to waste time or get ahead of myself, but I definitely I'm one that likes to put things in a row. So
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I'm on the right track. But thanks for you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, of course. Cool. Well, we only have a couple minutes left, so any questions from anyone else? I guess we'll just run a Q&A, huh? Another couple questions, Alex, or what?
Yeah, man. I'm for that.
All right.
I have a question. This is Denise. I have a question when it comes to wholesaling to developers, because one of the properties I have under contract is land. Do you have like a suggestion on where it should go for developers?
In terms of actually finding developers, I've never sold anything to developers. We've done hedge funds before though, but do you have PropStream?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So honestly, with like PropStream or like what we have Investor Lift, you can pull lists of recent buyers. Even if they're developers, you're still going to see an LLC entity name that you could then go on Open Corporate, look that up, find who the manager is of the LLC and call them. So, you would be able to see recent buyers who are buying land heavily or houses heavily or whatever it is in that specific market or area you're targeting where you have that property you're trying to move. And then all you would do is just pull those numbers, skip trace them, and call those people and let them know that, hey, you have land for sale or a house for sale at a discounted price from market rate and see if they would bite on it. But developers specifically for that
yeah,
area.
I was thinking about doing that. I love PropStream. And when
Yeah.
it comes to skip tracing, I noticed in PropStream, like the phone numbers are not that accurate. So I'm curious, do you have a suggestion on besides like maybe bin verified, or if you have another suggestion on a tool to skip trace?
So the go-tos that people use are PropStream and Batch. I find Batch to be slightly better than PropStream, still not 100% perfect. Then there's a couple
Okay.
other like individual tools that we use for skip tracing that still aren't perfect. And then
Yeah.
for buyer stuff on Investor Lift, Investor Lift, you can skip trace on there. So that's what I was doing previously. And then also we've kind of jumped around in terms of, hey, I'm going to try this person out who's 3 cents a record. I'm going to try this person out. This person has a lot of good reviews. I've never found a skip tracer that's 100% great and like, hey, this is amazing data. But but I would definitely say PropStream is kind of average when it comes to the data they pull. I wouldn't say it's bad, and I wouldn't say it's one of the good ones. I've heard better,
Okay.
and I've seen better results personally from batch skip tracing than I have with PropStream.
Okay, yeah, because I started to get frustrated and I was like, I'm gonna have to ask if anybody has any other suggestions on skip tracing. And then when it comes to skip tracing, like trust or corporations, I used to have I used to go on, I want to say like, well, California, if that's where it was at. But do you have any suggestions on how to skip corporations, how to skip trace corporations?
Yeah, you can look up open corporate usually has open corporate, you can look up LLC and entity names there, and oftentimes there's the phone numbers associated with them on there.
Okay, open corporate. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. And I have a question, I guess, for everybody and for you is anybody doing anything with AI, artificial intelligence?
Every day. It's my best friend.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. I'm going to start doing that here this next coming week. I was just curious if anybody's already doing that.
Yeah, I love it. I use it to do everything.
Yeah,
plan my
that's
day.
awesome.
It's
Awesome.
really good.
Perfect. Cool. Yeah, I was just curious if anybody's doing anything with AI.
I wonder what the Annex is doing with the AI for everything. What do you mean everything? Like a business?
Yeah, business.
How can you
Personal.
use this for business? How do you?
So a good example for an AI,
Mhm.
like you could have it write scripts for you. You could have it build out systems. There's they call them plugins. I don't do this, but I know there's some people who actually create ways to underwrite for the AI to understand, whether it's plugging in the monthly payment and checking the cash on cash return. So there's several ways. You could use it to comp, you could use it to do a whole bunch of different things.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then Meilani,
Did you just chat GPT or something else?
I use ChatGPT, but there's a version that you have to pay for. It just gives you more, I don't know, professional
tools.
answers.
God.
But the free version is good enough as well. It just, I really like the paid version.
How much you pay
Mm.
for the per monthly subscription or?
Yeah, it's $20, $20 a month for the.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, not at all.
And it's Chat GPT 4.
ChatGPT 4. Let me see if I could grab a link. I'll post it in the chat right now. But Meilani, if you want to go ahead with your question.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I wanted to check with you. I see on the creative finance Facebook page, like people are always posting, different, what can I say, like properties, creative deals and stuff like that. I'm always concerned that someone might be posting something that's not good enough for them, so it makes me worry, like, is it really a good deal? What are your thoughts when it comes to, the reason why people may post on the Facebook group? Like, are they really good deals, some of them, or is it, something that you have to kind of take with a pinch of salt?
I would probably take it with a pinch of salt, unless it's posted within 30 minutes to an hour. If it's been on the Facebook page for a couple days and it doesn't look like it's getting good interactions, most likely it's because that deal is priced a little too high.
Okay. So sometimes I see, like, obviously there's some people, like, I check the comments as well to see like people's reactions to the deal. But obviously by the time people react to the deal, that means obviously a lot of people have, had eyes on it and, are probably trying to, like, will probably check it out and things like that. So it won't be available. But I'm just thinking, like, if one was to get into, let's just say, to get a deal for themselves, even if you were to check the Facebook group, you know, it's just hard to tell whether or not it's a good deal unless you see through some of the comments and stuff, like where people are like, you know, what the heck, that kind of thing. So I just wondered, like, what motivates people to post on the Facebook group if it's not a good deal?
It's most likely they're just wholesalers and they're not looking to close on the property.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it's either they're just assigning it or they change their mind and looking to do something else with the property.
Okay. Yeah, so a second thing I wanted to say, to everyone really is that, because I was just on, like the whole Avatar series thing, and I was thinking just to say to everyone, I live, in Charlotte, North Carolina. So if anyone ever needed something to happen, if you needed me to go and see a property or whatever, I'm available.
Yeah, I saw that
I have
post.
time on my hands. So,
That's awesome. You're offering
if anyone, wants help with that, I'm available.
And I would continue to maybe do those intro posts maybe once a week because there's over 120,000 people in that Facebook group. And
Okay.
you have to remember you're probably only touching like 1,000 people's feed. And so there's another 127,000 that could potentially see it that may be looking for that help, but they just didn't get the chance to see it. So that's awesome that you're doing that, and I'm sure it's gonna come back to reward you when someone is like, hey, I have this really good deal, I just need someone to go take a look at it, I'm willing to partner on it. And now you have a super good deal and all you did was offer help.
Yeah, thanks for the advice. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we're past our time. Did anyone have any other questions before we go ahead and end this?
I have a question, Alex.
Yeah.
Last meeting we talked about the VAs, and did you guys decide on how it's gonna be moving forward with that, or?
Yeah, so Jack and I don't want to take on too many people at a time. I think we're gonna have 6 VAs as of right now. I really want to test it out for the next month, and I don't know if we'll offer it again, honestly. If it goes really well, Jack and I will probably just fund the VAs ourselves, but that doesn't mean we won't be building out systems to kind of help everyone train their VAs. I think the biggest thing when you get a VA is you need to be able to close a deal. And if you haven't closed a deal on your own, I would focus on trying to close a deal unless you have someone like Jack or me to close the deals, because you want to make sure you have someone who's good on the phones, and also you want to make sure you are underwriting these deals so that you're locking up good deals, because just because you get a contract doesn't mean you have a deal until you're at the closing table and you get that check. And then,
Okay.
but I'll definitely follow up with you in maybe 3 weeks to let you know how it's been going for those who are already involved, and something Jack and I need to consider. But yeah, we kind of wanted to just give a test run and really help those who seek the opportunity early.
Yeah, because I think I put my name on it, but I never got the email.
Oh no. Let me I'll message you after this, okay?
Okay, thank you, Alex.
Yeah, no problem. And then Enzo, your question, where are we getting the money and is there a limit on what we have to make on these offers? So where are we getting the money is, as wholesalers, you only need earnest money. So you don't need the amount agreed upon to actually close the deal, since you're not closing on it. So bring on as many deals as you can. I mean, Jack and I have some funds, but if not, there's Gators that I'm sure would be happy to do a EMD deal. And in terms of a limit, I don't really like to look at anything over the median home price of the zip code. just a general rule of thumb. But there are deals in luxury and just about kind of having a niche and really just focusing on one thing at a time.
What happens if we get the deal into a contract, but we can't double close? We don't have a buyer to back up. We put an inspection clause in there, like a delayed one, that if we have to pull out of the deal.
So when we get under contract, we typically have a 14-day inspection. And so until day 14, we can walk away from the deal and collect our EMD. After day 14, so day 15 and on until closing, that EMD is non-refundable, meaning if we were to back out, we're not going to see that earnest money back. That's for the buyer to keep because we weren't able to perform.
Okay, that's cool. And how much below the market value you trying to buy this at? You said 65%, something like that?
Start at 60. Always start at 60 because the lower the percent, the bigger the spread for you, most likely. And it's 60 minus repairs. So that could mean you might be offering 50% because, well, the home is going to need X amount in repairs.
Okay.
Cool. Well, I think we can end it there. Did anyone have any other questions?
Well, I don't have a question, but I just want to say thank you to both you and Jack for all the work that you guys have been doing with the VAs and putting the stuff together. I know that it's a lot of work and tracking and